welcome everybody. Happy October 3rd. Do you wanna go ahead and get started with the director's report?
Alright, Director's report for September 2024. 0 curbside pickups, 342 patrons. We have started school, so we have 2 classes with 2 visits with a total of 48 students visiting. Storytime attendees, we had 27 adults, 37 children for a total attendance of 64. Total Storytime events in September was 8. Dungeons and Dragons, we had 2 events with 20 attendees total. We had 4 volunteers with 6 visits and a total of 18.5 hours for the month. Not Just Knitting, 0 events. New cards, 17 total, which includes 5 e-cards. For Facebook and Instagram totals, our page reach in September was 2,090. Total page likes is 887. Page followers was 1,010. And Facebook page visits was 491. Instagram page reach in September was 51, with 175 followers and 11 Instagram profile visits. Most popular Facebook posts was number 1, the broom making class at 1,083, and number 2, Happy Fall Storytime at 683. We had 71 Wi-Fi connections and 623 website visits. The page was attached in a PDF format, so you can see what pages were visited. Library numbers. Hubbardston items circulated regardless of location, 917. All items circulated at Hubbardston regardless of ownership, 955. Requested holds, 251. Total number of patrons registered at Hubbardston, 1,480. Total number of items in September, 11,414. Overdrive monthly checkouts was 592. Holds on Overdrive, we had 171 e-audio, 236 ebooks for a total of 407 holds on Overdrive. The library was closed on Saturday, August 31st and Monday, September 2nd for the Labor Day holiday. The Senior Book Club met on September 25th, 2024 at 11 a.m. to discuss The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Mary Ann Schaefer and Annie Barrows. There were 3 in attendance. October's book will be None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. The next meeting will occur on Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024 at 11 a.m. at the Senior Center in the Slade Building at 7 Main Street. We are canceling the Thursday story time due to low attendance. Unfortunately, parking is a premium on Thursdays since the Senior Center offers cribbage at 12:30. Saturday story time will still be offered once a month. The displays for October in the children's room will be Halloween, and the adult reading room will offer horror stories. Ms. Tricia and I hosted a table at the annual Lions Club Field Day on Saturday, September 14th. We had approximately 80 people visit us. Ms. Tricia set up a craft table for people to color their own wooden none-such apple ornament, and we offered a raffle along with information about events coming up at the library. Ms. Tricia and I also hosted a table at the open house for the Hubbardston Center School on Wednesday, September 11th. Not Just Knitting will resume in October, and we are planning on passing candy out for trick-or-treating on Halloween. There was a Massachusetts Higher Education Cooperative at the DCU Center on September 19th that I attended. I have a membership through the consortia with CWMRs. I managed to connect with a number of vendors that the library uses, as well as some new vendors that we might utilize down the road for books, furniture, and security, to name a few. I attempted to reconcile the financial report to the budget versus actual report, but there are some discrepancies. I have sent an email to the town accountant to recode the payments correctly. This should be resolved next month, and the differences are in bold on the report. Once I get those straightened out, I will send you guys an updated report. Finally, the annual financial report has been submitted to the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners. This is required for state certification. Respectfully submitted by Christine Barbera. And the last page is the financials. So if anybody has any questions, I will.
So the ones in bold on there are?
The ones in bold are
like the donation account and the state account?
Donation, state, and personnel.
Oh, I see.
Those will be adjusted. In fact, she actually adjusted them this afternoon, but I wasn't gonna get this straightened out for that, so.
What is an e-card?
An electronic card where somebody can just go, they can get a card through CW Mars and then they can start using Libby right away. They don't have to have a physical
Oh.
card. They do have the option of converting it to a physical card if they choose to do so, but something they instituted during COVID to make it easier for people to use Libby and not actually have to see people.
But they can't use the e-card.
As a regular card, they cannot
Take off
borrow,
the shelf.
they cannot borrow physical items using the e-card, they have to convert that to a physical card.
And, sorry, can I ask something else?
Of course you can.
About the, sorry, let me finish this. It's about the conflict with the senior center.
Yes.
It just seems tragic to not be able to have the story time. So I'm just wondering if there's any way to work that out, you know, with them. I mean,
Oh,
not
no.
immediately, but, you know.
Well, as of right now, Tricia's job as executive assistant is, she needs to be here on Mondays, so Monday is out.
Mhm.
She was doing Thursday story times, but she was getting 2 people, you know?
Uh-huh.
And literally, there were days when I've come in and I've had to park over at the post office for a short period of time until all the seniors leave from
Mhm.
cribbage. They've been doing cribbage forever, so they got dibs, basically, is how I look at it.
Uh-huh.
How, we haven't resolved how we're going to address this, so.
Do you think that is the parking that's the issue, or do you just think that the time that the story
it's-
time is offered is just not as conducive
Well, it was
to parents?
it was Mondays at 1,
Mhm.
so we just shifted it to Thursdays at 1,
Mhm.
but literally, you can't get into the parking lot. If you can't get into the parking lot, no one's gonna come.
Sure, yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was timing or if it was really
I don't,
parking.
I'll check with Tricia on
Mhm.
that, I don't think that's the case, but
It wasn't Wednesdays?
we have 2.
still have Wednesdays.
So our Wednesday story time is at 10 a.m. and that one
Yeah,
is
that's what I
very
thought.
well received.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
realize
the
that
one
was
I
still
finished,
going
yeah.
on.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 2,
Okay.
I apologize, allow me to clarify.
Okay.
We've been having 2 story times, one for little ones and one for slightly older ones.
Okay.
The little one is at Wednesday at 10, the one for the older ones was at Monday at 1, and we shifted it to Thursday at 1,
okay, sorry.
but they can't get in.
Good.
So,
I like the option of keeping like, however it falls on Saturday, but
Mhm.
once a month. I
Mhm.
think that addresses a community need and a request to have them on Saturdays as well.
right.
So I would follow up and see how the attendance is on that.
Mhm.
And then if we get more community feedback of saying what specific time and things like that, maybe we can figure things out.
Mhm.
Okay, so we are still having a weekly story time on.
Yes.
Okay, I thought it was just only the every other Saturday.
Nope.
Okay, good.
The only other consideration I would throw out where we're open on Thursdays until 7 is, have we considered or would we want to consider a pilot that would be slightly after school, like a 4 o'clock-ish? And I don't know that that would hit anybody and if that would be completely disastrous or if it might hit people. I'm just speaking from my experience when I did send kids off to kindergarten, some of those even older kids that were school-age kindergartners, potentially even first graders, might want a story time. So maybe down the road, and that wouldn't conflict with cribbage?
Yep, it's cribbage.
Cribbage.
Alright, I put a note in here, I'll talk to Tricia about those.
I think I heard that parking is a concern. If it's truly the make or break concern,
Mm-hmm.
let me know.
Okay.
You're gonna offer valet from your house?
Well, I don't wanna, I was trying to camouflage that a little bit. If it is truly the only concern, I'd be willing to go over and talk to the church. There's a street up next to
I was wondering.
the house and there's probably 20-car parking up there, maybe more. The church may have some service, a funeral or a wedding or something on a day, that'd be a conflict, but I think that would be rare. And I would speak to them and see if they would be amenable to having us park there. They might not like it because it then becomes the public parking place, you know? And I don't blame them for that, but I would be willing to speak with them.
Any other questions about the director's report?
Just one more, we got a lot of new cards, was that because you were at the, field day?
September is new card month,
Oh.
and,
It was from the school probably.
we got quite a few from the school.
Okay, that's great.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of people at a field day.
Yes.
Like visiting your tent.
Yep.
So,
And was it well received at the open house for center school as well?
You know, it's interesting, the way they had us set up was they had the table set up in the cafeteria, and, people were coming in at not the main entrance, but the entrance right at the cafeteria. So some people came in through the cafeteria, but other people just went up the ramp and went off to see the teachers, so, we got a few people, I just did not think to keep track of how many people we ended up talking to, but I would say it was probably about 30, 40, so.
okay, that's great.
Nice. I would say the same, I think that's great still,
Mhm.
so,
Yep, Trish is doing a great job on outreach and reminding people that we have a library.
yeah, great.
Meeting minutes, I just amended the agenda to put the meeting minutes in for September. I had some minutes and I put in,
Oh,
October's agenda or something like that, so. Anyway, if you click on the link in the agenda, you should now see the meeting minutes for September 5th. So if you need a minute to peruse them, or if you had an opportunity to read them when Krista sent them out, so.
wait, I'm seeing the agenda.
You might need to refresh.
Oh.
Are people able to see the September meeting minutes? Okay. Any amendments or changes to them, or do you need a minute to look through them?
I need a minute because I honestly cannot remember having read it. So I'm going through. Any other discussion?
Any changes?
I'm happy to make a motion to approve the September 2024 minutes.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Five in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstained. Capital Improvement Planning Committee and pitch grants. So, Capital Improvement Planning Committee grants got postponed to October 10th. I had a meeting scheduled to meet with Nate a week ago Friday, and it got postponed. And then when I tried to circle back this week, it didn't happen again. So I have not had I sent him an email with our questions that we had last, at the last meeting about, whether or not seeking, a proposal or putting in a grant for a grant consultant. I also just asked a question about like furniture for the library. whether those were like appropriate for CIPC. I also asked about whether we should be submitting a pitch grant on behalf of the trustees, or whether or not that should go in as a capital improvement planning committee grant. So those were some questions I had put out there. And I had also inquired about the status of the foundation repair and the timeline for the 48 Gardner. So those were like kinda like the things I had kind of asked about. So unfortunately I don't have an update on those. But I think what we can go ahead and do is put together the CIPC grant for a grant consultant. I can take what we submitted for the building architect consultant and just like just tweak it. I still wouldn't mind putting something in for furniture, just in case if, you know, we do get some space in the basement to be able to buy something and see what they say, you know. As well, if you look at the, and it's not on the CIPC website, but the 2025 to 2029 capital improvement plan, just so you have an idea of kind of what's kind of not allocated, what's maybe slotted for the library. In fiscal year 2025, we had the $12,000 for the heat pumps, for the heat pump grant. And $75,000 for the boiler replacement in FY 2025, which we paid for the boiler. But in FY 28, on the capital improvement planning committee plan, there is $32,000 for window replacements, which is for the basement windows that we put in for like years ago.
2026 this is, I'm sorry.
2028.
28, okay.
Cause you have to put stuff in like 5 years out, right? So that is on for FY 28, and the architect assessment for the library, $42,000, is earmarked, I guess, for FY 28 as well. In that email to Nate, I asked about our interest in bumping up the architect assessment to FY 27, because I figured that might be a point in time where we might actually want to start thinking about getting some drawings together. Because I think we talked about, we're in FY 25 now. We've kind of talked about FY 26 being like a educating year, figuring out what we envision the library to be. So by FY 27, we may be in a better spot for an architect. So those were all questions I had, like in the email to him, and he's like, it's easier if we just talk about this in person. And so unfortunately, we just haven't been able to quite connect yet. Yes.
What was the answer to the question on the timeline of moving to Gardner Road?
I don't think that's been answered.
I have not had that answer
Better
yet.
by
So
I'm sorry?
it hasn't been answered yet. So I got put in like 4 or 5 questions in that email, and over the course he's like, it's easier to talk about it, and unfortunately we just have not been able to connect.
Okay.
So I don't have the answer for the timeline yet. So I will though try to reconnect Monday if possible. And I guess this is a discussion for us, is that Morgan did a amazing, spectacular, beautiful job of putting together a pitch project.
I totally stole from another and just copy pasted
Yeah.
instead of editing.
That's all right.
Put our details
Hey,
in.
that's okay.
Okay.
So for like an elevator, and that's linked in the agenda. So I thought maybe we could have a brief, or not a brief, we could have a discussion about, I thought it looked good. I thought it was pretty thorough.
Thank you.
And, you know, listed it. And so, based on maybe feedback from Nate as to whether or not we should submit it as a pitch or as a capital improvement. Because, do you guys know like how the pitch is working? Or do you want me to go
Yeah,
back for a minute?
If you could just,
Okay, so this
Say how
is
they're
the way I
related.
kind of understand it, yes. So
I think you did last
town
time.
administrator, so actually pitch came out the day after we had this
Oh, that's true.
discussion
Yeah,
last
yeah.
month about like, how are we gonna be involved in the process? So the email was like
Just
a day-
hours.
Yeah.
just hours after we had a very lengthy discussion. So the pitch is, Nate sent this out to the town for everybody to submit proposals for what they think capital improvement plans should be for Hubbardston. So they can be submitted, by the community members, organizations, and so forth. And there's a lengthy kind of outline which Morgan kind of followed. Those pitch grants come to the Capital Improvement Planning Committee, who then evaluate them to become incorporated into part of the capital improvement planning plan, right? So like if we're submitting things as a trustees, cause as trustees as a board, we're allowed to submit to the capital improvement planning committee. Pitch is a more of a community oriented one, but also organization, so it's all coming into capital improvement planning for approval. So
Can
it's
we
just,
go in both directions, submit a infrastructure plan, capital improvement proposal for furniture and things like that, windows,
Mhm.
and the elevator through pitch?
That's what I
Or is
wanna
that
talk to,
redundant?
that's what I wanna see what Nate thinks is a better way. Do we just do it all as a capital improvement plan, proposal, or can we do it as a pitch? Because it's all going to the same spot, right?
Is
And
the
same,
is
and
the
the same
form
group
the
is
same?
deciding it.
Is the
Hmm?
form the same?
No,
No.
And this pitch is new?
pitch is new,
Yes.
yeah, it's new this year, yeah.
Yeah, I have a question, and I'm in awe of the thing you put together. Doesn't the architect have something to do with this before we decide if we want an elevator here or there, or what it's gonna do? I mean, shouldn't that be part of the,
That would be part of the
Architect?
process.
okay.
Yes, I'm,
Does
Is
it
it-
seem to me to be geared to an external elevator, on the outside of the building?
Based off very brief prior, and so going back, how old is that?
3 or 4 years at least.
At least. Other prior discussions, at the time, the best suggestion was to try to do so off the rear of the building, kind of that breezeway walk through to the school.
Right, that one is 15 years old.
Okay, so off 15, but even the other one,
The wedge-shaped building modification,
was that not off the rear?
it is.
Yeah.
But it's quite old, it's 2000.
Yeah. Other similar buildings have done that, where
Okay.
basically they just kind of not paste, but build a section on the back of the building that sometimes has bathrooms, sometimes it has, it has the elevator, but sometimes it has a few other things, but it's really just like stuck on the back.
Okay, I was
And
just wondering how
it
that.
could
Yeah.
definitely go a different direction, but just taking what has been previously suggested to the library off an initial, and that's where I put that in. But I would assume, one, will need an engineer, but two, architecture and other assessments and suggestions. Leave it up to the professionals.
I was just wondering about, is that cheaper or is that more expensive than having an internal one? And it's now that, if we're gonna have the basement, because if it really is 10 or 15 years old, we didn't have the basement. So does
I
that
think-
change the picture?
I think you would benefit greatly from getting a look at the plans. We actually
Yeah.
have some architectural
Yeah,
plans.
that'd be great.
And I suggest you review them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're
That would
old,
be
but,
lovely.
no, building hasn't changed.
It is not, it's not really external, it becomes part of the building.
Right.
At least the ones I've seen.
But it's not, I guess I was wondering, is something central where you just put a, vacuum tube or something in the middle of the building
Mm.
versus sticking a whole annex, I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Oftentimes when you put an elevator in, you also have to put a redundant foot traveled staircase.
I was wondering about that.
You can't really have an elevator without a staircase. And there's very few buildings, including this one, that has a top to bottom staircase. And I think there were restrooms.
Mhm. There could be restrooms, yeah.
It's kind of like where the vault is now, the thing that sticks out the back is different colored brick. It's gray brick or gray cinder block instead of red brick.
Okay.
It's
I'll
in
have to
that
take a
area.
look, yeah. Okay.
it's not bad. A lot of money, but it's not bad.
And where are these plans that?
I'm not sure where they are, but we can,
Come see me.
Mm-hmm.
we can find them.
That's a good answer.
I might have them electronic.
Okay,
I'll look.
alright.
You know, what Tom said, that was the only comment I had about this proposal, which I feel like we should put it in. I feel like it might be a little premature, but, you know, we don't get a chance to ask for money, you know, like, it'll show that we're trying to plan for that, but I think we might need to say that we need this other stairway. Cause the places I've seen, they have an elevator and a, you know, kind of like a emergency exit type stairway.
It's a building requirement.
That's what I was wondering, yeah.
A very good example is Winchendon. Winchendon's library did this. Staircase, elevator, restrooms, stuck on the back, new at grade entrance, no steps. It's pretty nice.
I just envisioning something like those fancy hotels that have a glass.
Oh.
That'd be nice, yeah.
So just verifying, the pitch deadline has been moved from the sixth to the 10th. Is that correct?
I feel like that's correct, I feel like I saw that. Sorry to be just given to,
Cause I thought it was the sixth.
is it the 6th? I thought I saw something where that and the CIPC both got pushed back, but maybe I have my dates.
So I see Hubbardston, I have October sixth for pitch.
Okay.
I don't see October 10th.
Okay.
So
then
that's where I'm
Then I
wondering.
may be mistaken, then for some reason I have October 10th in my head,
So if we don't hear from me,
and we'll just submit it.
we
Okay.
submit
Yep.
and see what happens.
Yep, we submit and see what happens, so. And I don't think we have to, I think for the windows and the architect consultant, I don't think we have to resubmit a proposal because it should be there. I think we just need to say we want it to stay on the calendar. So, and that was the other question I had for him because I don't know where the proposal is that was originally submitted, 'cause it was done probably in 2018 or 2019. And it feels like, I remember having a meeting where we talked through the 5-year capital improvement plan that we wanted, but I didn't recall, like, I felt we just gave that to, our previous town administrator, I'm sorry, his name just completely escaped me,
Ryan?
Brian.
Okay.
And I don't recall submitting a formal proposal for it, and I can't find it in any, like, documentation.
Okay.
Let me look.
Okay. But it feels a little redundant to keep resubmitting the same thing like every year, and I didn't resubmit it last year, I know that, so it stayed on the calendar. I think I just said I'd like it to stay, so
Would the cost estimates need to be inflated?
maybe potentially.
So the architectural assessment is different than what we just had.
Yes, that was a building assessment, so this one is actually meant to, I think, to design plans to make the building more ADA accessible. So it was something that we've been talking about probably since 2018, 2019, and we pushed it out because we thought we wanna get foundation done, we wanna get windows done, we wanna get like all these other projects done, so we're in a good spot to, you know, do a more formal design.
And but the pitch, so we could ask for the pitch to be funded like around the same time as the architectural assessment,
I think,
cause
Yes.
we wouldn't wanna get the money first before
Right.
we, yeah.
and we have to figure out, yeah, I don't think all the money would come from, I mean, cause Morgan had listed some potential grants, I think I would be kind of thinking through, like, town maybe some money, library some money, CPC some
Yeah.
money, another external foundation some money, cause it's, not an insignificant amount of money that's being requested,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so.
It might be appropriate now if I just mention that we met with Murray,
I was gonna ask about that, yeah.
do that now?
We could do it now, or we could do it when we're going through foundation repairs, but we can do
Okay,
it.
no, that's all right, all
Well,
right.
before you do that, the date, that Nathan sent the, capital improvement plan deadline submission change was September 20th. Cause I just found the email.
But it was.
He said, in response to several requests, we are extending the deadline for submission to the 30 capital improvement plan to October 10th.
Okay, so that's where the October 10th got into my head, so October 6th is different. Okay, so we'll get the pitch submitted by Sunday?
Sunday,
Okay,
yeah, Sunday,
this is a weird date, so
so that they can review it Monday, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah.
Uh-uh.
No,
No, it's the
following
next-
week, the
following
14th.
Monday.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Do you want edits to the pitch to include staircase?
Yep.
I had a couple, not edits, but just to clarify, like, you know, it's two things. One is to help people get in the building, and the other is to make sure the upstairs, that we can use the
Accessible.
upstairs. So there's like, just to kind of, just to kind of clarify that, and then also, are we calling it the main floor or the first floor? Like, I think we have to be consistent. I can send you this, it was just a suggestion to kind of clarify, and then the second staircase.
Okay. Yeah, if you send that to me and then
Yeah.
I'll send that back out.
Okay.
Do you have time to do that? Yeah,
But it's great, you had,
Thank
you
you.
know, you answered all the questions
Yeah.
and put it all together, it's
Yeah.
really great.
okay. Library Policy Subcommittee. So that is Morgan and Krista and Chris.
So, I'm not anticipating discussion, but the intent was to introduce the policies and to inform the trustees that this is a working draft, but we feel like it's at a point where we're ready for feedback. We had wanted to try to do so in such a manner to where it's an editable format, to where people can add notes and things like that, and we can keep track of it and then hopefully have a working session. And to find out whether you guys would like to dedicate a trustee meeting or have a sub-meeting and call a meeting specifically for the policies,
Or just like go in chunks.
or go in chunks. And then keeping in mind when reading it, we're trying to set up the policies to both be concise, but also to a degree to where there shouldn't be, that it should be clear enough of what is and is not, and that the library, especially the staff and patrons visiting, feel protected. Given, especially recently down in Worcester, and elsewhere, I wanna make sure, first and foremost, that our library staff feel protected. And then, very closely, the patrons.
Can I just say we have 3 documents here, which is, I think, I mean, it's sort of been a progression, but the one at the end, the comprehensive policy, is the one that we're
Requesting to
focusing
be-
on now.
Okay.
So don't get overwhelmed.
The policy index and honestly, the comprehensive policy spreadsheet were manners in which we were trying to organize it. And we were trying to, we had it under a broad umbrella, kind of like as you see it now. Then we broke off policies and then we were like, does this fit there and here? And then we've gone back together. So those indexes and spreadsheets were kind of our organization tools.
Yeah,
So I don't think those are honestly
you can
necessary.
ignore those.
Okay. So those can be by
Ixnay.
Ixnay, okay, so just focus on the comprehensive policy. Yeah, that was gonna be my question, cause I was like, wasn't quite sure how all of these work together.
Yeah, sorry.
So focus on the comprehensive policies.
So the comprehensive policy is the third link, is the one that we're requesting.
I'm not able to open that link. I
Are
can
you not?
open the other two, but I can't open
Oh.
that one.
So
Oh, I asked for permission.
the other thing that we can do is we can share that out to the trustees. Were you able to see it?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's
I
see.
requested access.
Oh, it says restricted, so let me, anyone with the link,
Can you just send it as a PDF like you did the other thing?
I think so. Can you try it now?
You might need to refresh your screen.
Okay.
Oh, no, you got it.
Very good. Thank you.
And is there any particular policy you want us to focus on, or?
No, but I can say that I think that you guys can skip over the mission, vision, and value statement. Because we just recently, there were a couple other documents to where we had for a while kept when it was approved. But at this point, even just minor word changes have been there, so I really didn't feel like it was safe to keep the approved, because we did change a couple words, and even a couple words makes a difference. But other than the mission, vision, and values, we've touched and edited each policy in some way.
Okay, and none of these are, you said some of these have been approved, but they're gonna need to be reapproved.
Correct, because
Okay.
some of them have drastic and some of them just have a few tweak of wording changes. And the idea is, we're not in a rush, but if I could skip ahead to our calendar to where we've had policies in the past, and we have it kind of down for December and February, and we're starting to approach that. So if given the time to kind of read and review, and nice winter reading, if you guys wanna read the
Okay.
policies. And then, again, it's not, okay, this is due November at our next one. No, I think there's plenty of time. We've taken our time to kind of, and part of our process, if you wanna know, we did compare Gardner, Princeton, Barry, Westminster, Fitchburg, Worcester, so a lot of local libraries. We've gone a little bit further. There was Owls Network, there are a few other resources that we used. And then we have reached out. Most recently, what we compared, a lot of other libraries are referencing a 2003 document that the Department of the
Secretary of State, I think.
William Galvin's office. However, and it was with regards to solicitation, and it had an official document. However, that is not currently published. It has not been updated, nor does the state have any plans to update that. So the state had actually asked us, I spoke with Frank Antioch, and he said, do not reference that letter. Instead, he discussed verbiage that he felt was important that we have in the solicitation with regards to specifically political solicitation, but he said it is advisable to have that verbiage we had discussed of nonprofit groups, for-profit groups and events, as well as political solicitation, and then just remembering both that balance of freedom of speech with access to the building. We discussed our building, and he said the one thing that is protected is if there's a public hallway off which offices in rooms in which business were conducted, that hallway could be used for solicitation. If, however, a room, such as the main reading room where you check out books, that room is not appropriate. Your office is not appropriate, and even the children's room where office could be conducted is not really appropriate. Our main entrance is very questionable if it's appropriate as a hallway, because likewise, that condition is it cannot impede or hinder or really hinder, impede, I'm looking for other words, any entrance or exiting of the building, and patron use or entrance to the library. So then it was that consideration of where can it be done, and even public grounds. So there's a right to be on public grounds, but again, not impeding our walkways and the stairs and entrance. So those need to be worded, so that would be one to where I would ask for your consideration, probably because it's foremost and more recent of our review.
Yeah, so the general conduct, the ones.
General conduct
General
is important.
conduct, the children, and the, solicitation could be like people getting petitions signed or that kind of thing, but Chris pointed out that they're gonna go to Walmart and not come to the library because, you know, we don't have a lot of foot traffic like some other libraries maybe have, but we have not had a chance to sit down with Chris yet about this, cause, you know, we kinda wrote them and we sent them to her, so I think we need to do that and see, you know, what you guys are thinking about these, and then we also need to have them vetted through the town, council, yeah. But I think the more eyes on these things,
The better.
the better. And the ones at the bottom, like the, collection development, the borrowing,
Those have fewer edits.
yeah, I mean, those are some of the ones that we've already passed, so, you know, it doesn't mean we can't, you know, review them, but, it's mainly the conduct ones that we've been working on more recently.
Great, thank you for working on this, and so we would want to have this on our December agenda to do a more, well, I guess the question was, how do we want to go through these policies? Do we wanna dedicate a meeting, like a full meeting or majority of a meeting to them? Do you want to have a separate meeting aside from our first Thursday of the month? Or do you wanna do them like a policy or two each meeting?
We only have 2 more meetings before December. So,
But I'm likewise not like it has to be done by December. So I am open likewise, however, and it can be organic, how you guys feel. So if you guys feel like you want to have a chance to just really start reading it and see how far you get, and then see this, and that might be the most thing, is that we introduce it to you. Get your initial feedback, go read it, come back to the November meeting, and then let us know consensus after having just tried to read through it. Do you feel it would be appropriate to dedicate a meeting? Or do you feel we should go off into a sub-meeting? And we'll take it from there. Because I think until you get into it and get a chance to kind of read through it, and if you feel like this is nowhere near being ready, you guys have so much more work, come back to us and let us know. We'll go from there. But it's hard, I think, to ask you guys without you guys having actually even looked at it.
Well, and the, you know, we need the staff input too, so I
Yep,
don't know, the timeframe.
I'll share it with, Ann and Tricia and, get their input.
So we have put this in, and we also, keep in mind, we were using different, like Word and Doc and things like that. We tried to put it into Google Doc, and we've tried to work on formatting. So you may also find some formatting things, but we tried to kind of go through that. There still may be some formatting issues. We've been utilizing Google Docs because it has that plus option of adding a note. And you can highlight the section and say, your note on the right will show up. And that way the document stays as it is, but your notes are there, and that way you don't have to remember. So if everybody's familiar with that, if you're not, we can also send out
Were you able to open
some
it, Tom,
instructions.
or no?
I opened the outline of the spreadsheet,
Okay, well,
and
let me.
I haven't poked much beyond that. If I have a problem, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, I mean, I can email it you, like a different version of this, cause I
Well-
think it'd be better to only look at the latest one, cause otherwise it'll be confusing. The one to the right, the one that says comprehensive policies. But yeah,
So
we
I
can-
would ignore the policy index, I would ignore the comprehensive policy spreadsheet and just go to comprehensive policies. And it should bring up kind of, the front of that should be like a table of contents almost index of what we have in the order in which you'll find them. So if you want to go to something else, or if we're referencing something, we know what page to jump to. And then it just follows through. And I forget, but I think it's something like 33-ish pages.
33 pages.
And you guys put in a ton of work, so looking forward to.
And then likewise, if you feel free to go and compare other libraries. Do you feel like we're missing anything? And that would be the big thing. If there's something glaringly missing that we have not added, and or if you want it to be restructured, those are all discussions that we would like to hear.
Alright, so November, we're gonna come back, everyone's gonna have read through as much of it as possible.
And if
And then make a decision as to whether or not, how we want to tackle it as other, an entire meeting where it's like, it's all policy, or if we wanna parse it out a little bit more. Again, take a little bit at each meeting, or have a separate meeting outside of our regular meeting time.
Kristen, I can see all 33 pages.
Great, okay, good.
And do you want us to edit on the document or just?
So that's where I'm saying,
Yeah.
I don't know if we can do a tutorial or we can do a scribe, but there's an option to add like
A comment.
that plus.
Add
And
a
so we're
comment.
looking for people to put like their comments right into the document,
Okay.
because then we can also like go and see those comments.
Approve them or delete
Yeah.
them.
I don't think that we'll do that. I'd like to actually leave all the comments there. As you read through, we've actually,
You have, yeah.
we've left comments in there that we actually
Can
are
you see
seeking out.
those?
Yeah, the whole stream.
Yeah.
We're seeking out discussions, and there are some options of what do the trustees feel about this, and should we change?
Yeah,
So,
if you go to, if you have it open as a Google Doc,
Do I?
you should see an insert option on the, it says file, edit,
Is this
view,
the screen?
insert at the top.
Mine is showing up as a Word document for some.
If you, so what you can do is, if it's showing up as that, you can say open,
Open with
as
Google
Google
Docs,
Docs?
yeah.
and that will put it into a Google Doc. And then you should have a
I don't either, so.
file, edit,
there it
view,
is.
if you go to insert,
I'm trying to see
and then
if this is
towards the
even
bottom it
as
says
a-
comment.
Oh.
There's also a little box at the top with a plus.
Where did you push open? Oh.
So those are the,
Do you
yeah,
see
so,
that, Tom?
Do that.
Well, I'm on my
Here.
phone, not on my
Okay.
computer.
Ours.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm
this
just
is
getting
the
a,
same
almost
word.
a text document.
Do you wanna see it from mine?
Yeah, I can email it to you.
yeah.
I think I've opened like 3 or 4.
You see it as
It's
a Google
opening
Doc?
as
Okay, so
Word,
you
not
see it,
as
yeah,
a
you
Google
get the
Doc.
comments
And
side by
then
side.
you can
What I
highlight
did
something
before
and
is I
then
did
press
this.
Yep.
comment.
Okay,
and
It's
then-
like
okay,
Word.
yes,
Yeah.
Okay, so if you can do that,
Yeah.
and then,
Highlighted.
You're welcome.
then you can highlight
Just
the
keep-
comment, okay, yeah, I could,
So
I could.
I didn't have
Might
the
have
same
to
I don't-
comments that you guys had.
Fair enough.
I
Just
was
give me a
only
heads up,
able to
I
have
insert
to bring my
things. I couldn't strike
computer.
through. I
Mondays,
couldn't-
Mondays,
Yeah, so this wouldn't like actually
Cookie.
change any of the language
I'm in the
here,
morning,
Okay, so
which
it
is
just
just,
has
you
a
like
slide
highlight
Tuesday,
it,
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
like so if you highlight, and
Like
then,
we're seeing they
Pretty
did.
much.
yeah, and then you do comment,
I'll get
Okay.
through it.
I'll come
and then
and
you
see
can do
me.
the plus button, right here,
And my name
Oh,
would
the
come
plus
up.
button.
yeah, and if you do plus.
That just is
And then
doing
it'll say
size.
Oh, okay.
So when you highlight a word or a phrase,
Yeah, I think I
you'll
talked
see
about it.
a,
There's a couple of places where
little
I'd like
plus
to
button
mention
there.
certain
Yeah, but that
pages.
means-
Wondering
or if you
if
have the option for
do
insert, you can also do
things,
insert
Just wondering
comment
if
too.
There's
Okay.
like a procedure,
I don't-
kids
either
have
way.
left unattended, those are the
I don't
the main
know.
things.
An espresso
We
and
weren't
puppy.
gonna even
YouTube on
know.
that.
I'm looking for like
I can help you, you just call me,
Joking.
Yeah.
whatever, we
something
can
to
go through it,
navigate,
so.
but I'm not sure if there's.
We could put that in?
I just-
No,
again,
that's
that's
okay, I have to find them.
Yes, if you
This
just
is
use
where we
comment
were.
features instead of
Okay,
writing
right?
into it, so
Okay.
it'll be good, so.
And you open,
But it's,
so it should be open, it is, doesn't that mean it's a Word document?
that's what I'm seeing, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure how.
So I think you have to, I'd have to download it, would that be right?
I think Word has comment feature too.
It does, it's just,
so-
it's not.
I don't know if anybody's familiar, I'm not seeing, and I don't know how to edit.
If this is in viewer,
Yeah,
I think all I've ever signed up for is viewer. I do have a Google account, but I have absolutely no idea what the password is. I wrote it
You
down.
could download it and then,
That's what
yeah.
we were figuring
Yeah,
out,
I think
yeah. I could go home and look up the
Yeah.
password too, I just don't happen to know
I
where
mean, it would be also okay if you wanna just make your own copy and, you know,
And make hard copy notes
do,
and things
you know,
like that.
make comments or
Okay,
changes on that.
I think if I was to sign into Google, that would probably give me access to
It's helpful to see the ongoing comments.
Yeah.
find out.
So if I go to Google Docs, we'll always get the most recently revised document, right?
Yeah.
The other one disappears once someone has put comments on it?
It's kind of
It's
archived.
like,
Oh,
Yeah.
so, it would be like just adding almost like a post-it note to it, but it doesn't change,
Erase it.
like the old document doesn't go away, it's the same document.
We apologize in advance, it's a lot to go through, but hopefully, you know, it'll
Don't
be good to have it in
apologize.
No,
place.
Don't
It's
apologize.
important work, so.
You've done it.
Yeah.
Just just briefly road race wrap up. Mark sent Chris and I like some of the final numbers, and it looked like, as of September 7th, we had made about $4,500 from the road race, and I think that we were still waiting for like another $430 to come in, so we'd be close to $5,000 that we made, which was more than we made in past years, so.
Right.
So we, so that's good, and all of that goes into the donation account. So, and it's been probably going in piecemeal over the past couple of months, I
Yeah.
think, cause as like we got race registrations or sponsorships, Chris has been been depositing them, so when you look at the monthly numbers, you're not gonna see a big $5,000 bump one month. It's been going in kind of gradually over the past few months, so.
When I get the donation account updated, which is not, it should reflect the proper amount. Although some of it was done in May and June, so you're not gonna see those numbers because that was a previous fiscal year. But I would go with Mark's assessment of the 5,000.
Does that mean we give out more scholarships this year?
Potential.
Could potentially, or it could go towards other things as well.
So we
So
could
it could
take
go-
some of that money for the elevator.
Elevator programming, like if,
Okay.
you know, if,
It's
you know,
discretionary.
Shouldn't it?
yes, so.
How do we thank the wigglers?
Yes.
I learned recently that, their daughter, who
You know, maybe
has
kids were-
participated forever, drove all the way from Pennsylvania
Oh, no.
to be here for this day and support the program, so
Mhm.
that's extraordinary.
Yep.
That's great.
So how do we thank them? Strongly worded letter?
Be a strongly worded letter.
They do such a job,
They do.
such a
They
great
do.
job,
Yeah.
year after year after year.
Is there another public meeting going on in Hubbardston that could recognize them, like they did with the Shays?
We try it.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll come up before the next town meeting.
That's a long way off. You
Yeah,
have to
it
do
is.
something fairly
Yeah.
immediate to the actual event,
Yeah.
you know.
I would actually like to propose when we hand out the scholarships that we start inviting them to be part of handing them off,
It's nice.
given that this is like a direct correlation to the scholarships. And I know that that's not like an immediate, but
Yeah, that would be nice, so, but I will pick up a card for sure, and then drop it off at the library for y'all to sign.
Could we get them a gift card or is
Mhm.
that too, use some of the donations or something,
Yeah.
or we could, I mean, I don't mind chipping in for something like
Yeah.
I don't either. Dinner somewhere, or
carve one of the
Yeah.
new foundation
Yeah.
bricks.
give them a brick?
Give them a brick.
that. That would be interesting, a little plaque or something like that.
Do we have any more library slates? Or are we out?
Yes. Nope, we have some.
So I'm not sure if you'd be interested, but that would be a very nice, I think, likewise.
Was it embossed or was it just,
It
It was the etched,
Yeah, that's-
yep.
So if we do, I would recommend one of those.
Maybe we could invite him to one of the meetings to present it or something.
Add his daughter's name to it or something.
Yeah, I know how to get them etched, so I wanna do something on it.
Mm-hmm.
Or I have slates we could start from scratch.
Could do that.
Alright, going back to the discussion of whether to establish a friends in the library, I think we either said this at the beginning of the meeting or right before it, when we sent the call out to the community, with the form, 6 people had expressed interest in reestablishing the Friends, and Chris said she got 3 signatures, or 3 names at Field Day.
Actually, we got 1 name at field day and
Oh.
2 who came into the library.
2, okay.
Because we put it on the table as you
Okay.
walk in.
So
Okay.
6 plus 3 or just?
Yes.
6,
Okay.
but I guess we have to
Well-
match up names to make sure there isn't any duplicates,
Right.
but potentially 9 people. So I don't know if we want to, in the month of October, towards the end of October, invite them to a meeting to kind of go over what a friends group does, what might need to be done to get it reconstituted. So, and kind of get their.
Separate to our November agenda, just have a separate meeting.
I think so, yes.
I think that'd be great.
I think that would be good to do it that way. I have to read through a little bit more of like the Friends stuff, but it is a separate entity, so like I think we would need one of them who were interested to kind of take lead in kind of getting us reconstituted, you know, and I think there can be help from
There would
the
be a primary, but,
trustees.
yeah.
But I think it's because it is a separate nonprofit organization potentially, that I think there probably needs to be a little bit of, like, I don't think we can do it. I think we need them to kind of, someone to take an initiative and then kind of help support them through it. So I think, but I have to read through that a little bit more to fully understand that, but it feels like there would be a slight kind of weird conflict if we were
It's my
driving it.
understanding likewise with prior nonprofits, it should be run separate, they should have somebody that reports to the trustees and
Mhm.
likewise, similar, like, we have the liaison
Yep.
relationship and we would support and attend their
Absolutely,
meeting,
yes.
but not like everybody going to their meeting,
Right.
just one connect,
Yep.
back and forth.
That's how I think it would work too, or should work, you know.
You can reach out to the MBLC. They have 2 gentlemen that should be able to help you,
Okay.
so.
I did talk to a friend of mine who is part of the Friends of the Library,
Mhm.
or their library,
Yeah.
which is Leverett, which is a vastly
Which-
different
which
structure.
library?
We are Leverett?
Leverett, uh-huh.
Yeah. So she had a list of how much, you know, categories, an individual person can sign up for $10, if you're a couple it's $20, if it's a family it's $50. They do have a president and a treasurer, and I was wondering if we were a 401c, whatever it is.
501c.
But before, can you just resurrect that same paperwork, or do you have to start from
So that's where we need to figure it out.
Yeah.
So going back through the meeting minutes and the Friends binder, it felt like they were really struggling to get to the 501c3, and then it looked like they started working with the Greater Worcester Community Foundation, but it's unclear to try and get 50c13 status under them, but then it's kind of stopped, like the meeting minutes notes stopped. So, but I do know, and I should have done this, I apologize for not doing this last month. Josephine Amato was the liaison to the Friends, so I may reach out to her and talk to her a little bit. I know Laura Foley was also on the Friends for a period of time, and I'm gonna see her Monday at another meeting, so I might talk to her a little bit about what she remembers. Trying to kind of rebuild some memory to see what happens. So, what I can say is, there's no record of them in GuideStar, which is a website that kind of for 501c3s to look at their annual reports. I was not able to find a record for them through the Secretary of State's business database, business organization database. Like when I searched it, I could find Hubbardston Historical Society, Friends of the Senior Center, but nothing for us. And then I think Nate looked through probably something through the IRS website, and he couldn't find anything either as of being active. So we either need to figure out, did it ever actually become a 501c3, or did it stall? So either trying to reconstitute it or start all over again fresh. And it may be easier to start over fresh, just
Start fresh.
based off of reading through the meeting minutes. Like, they were really struggling to get through that paperwork to get it figured out. Nate said he would help us through it, because I did ask if we needed to get outside counsel, like Brecca to help, or if we needed town council, and he said he and town council would help us get through it. So.
The seniors, or Friends of the Senior Center or something, is a 501c3 now, and they had to make that same decision about whether to go it alone or to go through the Worcester Foundation. And I'm pretty sure, I'll check on this, but I'm pretty sure they went it alone.
I think they did too. I talked to somebody who's on it the other
Good,
day.
because I think the foundation provides wonderful services, but for larger organizations, because there's a fee to be in it and all that. There's a burden that falls heavy on small groups, heavily.
So could the our
Edward.
library, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry?
No, could the library fund the cost of setting up the Friends, or they have to raise their own money to do that?
I think we need to look through all.
Yeah,
I think we
figure
need, I
that
mean, I
out.
think that, yeah, we need to probably reach out to someone at the MBLC and just read, and no, MBLC has a good website or a library guide about the Friends that you had sent out. So I think prior to the meeting we have with people who are potentially interested, I think, I can kind of read through and try and get myself a little more well versed in what needs to happen, so that the meeting is constructive and productive.
Do you have I mean, do we wanna have like a subcommittee of people to work
Subcommittee
on
would
the
be great
Friends?
to do
I mean, I don't know if anybody's interested in that. Great.
Not that I know anything
Well,
about it,
but
I
that's
did read
okay.
material
I think we're all
this
kind of in a
time.
learning process now,
Yeah.
so,
Good resource.
yeah.
Well, I just call
Yeah.
Leslie and so.
Yeah,
it-
I mean,
it's
maybe
just a
she
very
could come to
different
the
audience.
meeting, you know, would she be willing to come to the meeting, maybe?
Yeah,
No, I think
Well,
that'd be-
depending on-
This is the Leverett person?
yeah, she's.
Is she the head of it?
Hmm?
Is she the president?
No, I don't, well, I didn't ask, maybe she has some title, but they are very, it's a whole community of college professors, so it's very different, you know, I mean, they have, their little pot of gold is in 3 figures, you know, I mean, we're not gonna have that kind of a group that's very active, and, you know, they're landscaping the place and, you know, funding, you know, all sorts of things, so it's not, I don't think we're gonna have that kind of a group, but they'd kind of have to decide, the group would have to decide whatever funds they come up with, how are they gonna be distributed, and that's the kind of thing that we should liaison with them.
Right.
You know, because it's gonna be their decision of where
Mhm.
that pot of money goes to.
Yeah, how, yeah.
Is the
because-
way I understood the
Yep,
paperwork.
I think they decide how they donate it to
Yeah.
the
Yep.
library,
Mm.
so.
They have a goal, and that's, you know, but I think if people just were willing to, you know, even sign, like you say, they signed up at Field Day, you know, $10 a head would still do really well. You could buy a bunch of books or materials or, you know, whatever. It doesn't have to be re-landscaping the grounds or, you know, putting
They
in
used
an
to have bake
elevator.
sales, I think, was their main
Yeah,
fundraiser,
it
but
was.
like they did it at the election or something like
Yeah,
that, you know,
election
like.
day they
Yeah,
had
they
a
run a
bake
book sale.
Yeah.
But their book sale is, I don't know if you've ever been in that library, they have a whole anteroom, which is the size of our library, and it is books that they have for sale that people donate or come from the library themselves, and it's like a cornucopia of Barnes and Noble, it's just, and it's a very busy part of what, you know.
How many people are in Leverett?
Not very many, but as I say, they're almost all.
I think it's like
members.
800.
Well, whatever it is, they've come up with more than $100,000 to, you know, donate towards what they see their vision of the library.
Good for them.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And
So I
that's
don't
a
think
very
that-
old building too, it's.
No, it's, no,
1800
no,
in
no, it's
2022.
brand new.
Oh, it is.
Well, maybe there was an old building. The one that I was in was
2022.
brand new and shiny, and it's one floor,
That's the
I think.
population.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's just gonna be different.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
right,
gonna be
we're a different organization.
But I think that it might be nice to have people, those T-shirts, like you got the T-shirts, it could be the friends of, you know, or whatever. I don't
The
know,
other thing
informal
about it-
basis.
This money that goes into the town donations account, if it doesn't have a stated purpose, it, well, I should say, it needs to have a stated purpose.
Yeah,
I was gonna
right.
say, especially with nonprofits and their reporting, almost everything has to be accounted for. Money's coming in has to be accounted for record keeping of where did they receive it, even if it's anonymous, they have to record that it was anonymous. And then everything that goes out, they have to record the intent before they spend it, and then that they did, and if there's any discrepancy, so having worked with a nonprofit before, we've actually tried to make a donation, we talked to them, and they said that's not what we wanted to accept, we actually had to then report that they refused such, they said, we really don't want your money. I'm like, okay, but then that
I'll
means
take
more
it.
paperwork for us, thank you. So they did, but you couldn't raise money, so one of the specific things, so say that they were going to do landscaping, and they recorded and had a goal of $5,000 for landscaping, but then they fundraised $10,000. That $10,000 has to be put to landscaping, even though the plans for, and they only had the intended use of up to $5,000 based on their budget of what they were going to do, they then have to find a way of using that $10,000 for landscaping. They can't spend $5,000 on landscaping and say, well, we raised above and beyond what we wanted, we're now going to allocate this for
Something else.
paint. No, it needs to go for landscaping. If you raise it for something, you have to use it for what
This
you
is,
said.
this is a generic description of a 501c3, or is this that 501?
That's general
Generic.
for 501(c)(3)s. And I mean, if you have legal representation, but legal representation, and this goes back, it's been 5+ years since I was involved. It was up to like $50,000 that you're raising a year before you really need legal representation for tax filing purposes. And a lot of lawyers are like, it's not worth the legal fees to get me involved, I don't really want to deal with, you're too small of a nonprofit. If we get to the point where we're raising more than $50,000 a year, then legal representation and CPAs would then be worth a friends of the library, but up to that point, they're kinda on their own.
It's a big cake sale.
Big.
This is tangential to all this, but I got an email from Mary LaRoe, who's our town
Treasurer.
treasurer, thank you, I was like, town treasurer. And she brought up this idea of a fundraiser, which I thought maybe if we had a friends group, they could take on as an initial project of, sorry, it's, have you guys been in Westminster and have you seen the dogs?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so doing an apple statue
Oh, yeah.
with a non-such apple,
I would love that.
you know, here in town. And so it's, Westminster is funded by the Village Foundation, and then I guess they auction off the apples or something, the apple statues or something, but the money goes towards beautification projects, right? So she's super into it. So if we decided that's something we would wanna go to, she'd be interested in being involved, but I also thought that could be, a nice way to give, if we do have a friends group, give them a project to get started with, so they don't have to come up with something on their own, you know?
It's clever.
It
That
is,
and
you know?
or where we already have Hubbardston Celebration,
Mhm.
to where if the friends aren't, and that's
Mhm.
too overwhelming, if we got them involved,
Yep.
and or they can work in
Mhm.
collaboration with each other.
Yeah, so there's time to, there's like a year out on this, cause this would be related to like apple picking season in next
Mhm.
September and October.
I love that.
But it's, something that we can definitely seem to explore, so.
Love
What
it.
is the significance of the dogs in Westminster? I see them, but I don't know
if
what
it's
that's
maybe,
about.
isn't there a Westminster Dog Show?
Oh, there is,
Oh,
yeah.
there
And so,
is.
is that maybe why they pick dogs, is because of the
Maybe.
town name? I don't know, that's just me.
I would have
just-
thought that they would have done a cracker, to be quite honest.
It's not as.
It's kinda hard to decorate a cracker,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to decorate a dog statue.
That
stands
dog right at the corner there by the cracker factory
Yeah.
always freaks me out, cause you feel like it's about to run out the street.
Out in Greenfield, they have bees. I'm pretty sure
Oh,
they're
really?
bees or hornets.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Some of them.
So anyway, she kind of approached
Good
the
idea.
library about doing it, so I was like, oh, wow, that sounds super interesting, so.
So are we having a subcommittee besides Alicia?
Yes, please.
And I'll-
I'll try to get in that too. Don't mind.
So.
Do you mind
three
if
of us?
I work with you?
Please.
Yeah,
Is that, is that okay, you
Yep,
guys
yeah,
can do
the
that?
three of us.
Okay. I mean, I don't mind helping, but I don't have to do it. I think the Friends could be really good, but it might be hard to get it set up, that's all.
I'll be a cheerleader and support you guys.
Yes, that's
As
good.
you guys need it, you let us know.
Yeah.
So the three of us can get together and try and figure out a time to schedule a meeting and then kind of get up to speed. Chris, how involved would you like to be?
I can be as involved as you want me to be. If you want me to come to the meetings, I'm happy to do so. I'm assuming that you're gonna need a staff liaison for Friends as well, so.
Oh, yeah, I think you would, or you would be,
Yep.
would work closely
So,
with
yeah,
that group.
They gotta know who I am and who the staff is, so yeah, I'll be there. I'll
Okay.
do what I can. I've never started up a nonprofit before, but.
Would it be helpful, like I could gather some information from other
Mhm.
Friends groups, would that be helpful,
Mhm.
like links or, pamphlets or, I don't know.
Does anyone know any of the presidents of other Friends groups like Westminster or Gardner?
I could try to contact them, I don't know them.
I don't know how active they are. I don't know much about
I think the Friends in Gardner is very vibrant.
them. Is it?
I
They
believe
just
so.
had their book sale last
Mm.
weekend.
Yeah.
Do you want me to try to contact them, or the committee will do it?
Sure.
I can do that.
Ooh. I was looking at our library trustees calendar, and in August was the library director performance review. Did Nate do one, or you waiting for us to do it?
Nate does not do my performance.
I just wanted to
review.
make sure, okay,
Yeah.
'cause, okay.
Because I love referencing to the town organizational chart. There's everybody, and then there's this little blue square, and it's me, and there's nobody.
Yep.
And it's
Okay.
you guys hire or fire
Yep.
me. I am working on my self-reflection and what I've done in the past year. Not quite done yet, but, I can get that to you soon, because, I also want to address Tricia and Ann's, expanded role in the library, and I anticipate that, at some point when we have a second, 2 floors, that we're gonna need 2 people on that, which means that somebody's gonna be supervising if I'm not there, which I would assume would default to Ann, but, those are things that I'm trying to,
Okay.
what do you do, it,
Brainstorm?
brainstorm, thank you, brain break, brainstorm about, so,
Okay, perfect, yeah. Cause I remembered you said you were working on your self-reflection, I was like, oh, like, we need to do that, then I was like, oh, I was like, is it happening, like,
well,
outside?
we were in the middle of strategic planning and
Yeah.
finalizing, and
Yeah.
getting that all straight out, so I totally understand why that happened, but, I do wanna get that to
Yep.
you guys, so you can.
Yep, so, we need a subgroup to do that, so, I know Morgan, you and I did it last time,
Yeah.
but did
Do I
anybody?
know enough to do that? Have I been around enough?
I
I didn't know anything when I did.
Okay.
You,
I'll
you
do that.
read, you know, what Chris writes,
The
and then you look
criteria
at the
for-
job description
okay.
and, you know.
And then
Sure.
you kind of
You've
have a
probably done that
meeting-
kind of
have a
stuff
meeting
before.
with, Chris, talk about like, what she's happy about, what she wants to, what her goals for the year, and then we write up a document, that then gets kind of submitted to what we have it, and then if we're trying to figure out funds, we submit it elsewhere, so.
So, this being said, with my brain not having any documentation, I feel like I had it in my head, are the town reviews in August, or are they in February? For some reason in my head, I have February in my mind.
You have February in your mind because I hired them to start in February, so I've been doing annual reports for them. I should change that so that I can have their, reviews be reflected in my new budget submission for FY '26, which starts to get pulled together in the fall and I think gets finalized in December.
Okay.
So you're gonna move that
So we
to-
should all move, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And I'm happy to be
We'll move
involved
it
in
to
that as well.
February, or?
No, away from February, cause by the
Oh.
time February
Yeah.
comes along, I'm not planning for FY '26, I'm planning for FY '27.
Okay.
I wanna have it sooner, so.
Move it up to the fall.
Which is, I think, what happened last time, I think we did it in February
Yep.
or March.
So we're
and-
moving it to
So we moved it,
August.
yeah, so we moved it to August, so we'd be more aligned with the budget
Right.
cycle, so.
Yep.
So the goal is to be completed with these and submitted by December, correct?
If we can do it by
Ish.
November, that'd be great, but
Okay.
December, if I recall, and I'm trying to remember the timeline, I think it's start, do I have it? I don't have it on me, I have it on my computer. They start talking about the budget in October,
Okay.
and then they start saying, okay, get your budget submissions in by end of November, beginning of December, and take these dates with a huge grain of salt, because this is all coming from last year, and my memory's wobbly. But yeah, I would like to get the reviews and the
Great.
income, or, the raises in to the budget as soon as possible, before they start making.
Do you feel as though we're comfortable with saying a date for that subcommittee meeting review? At this meeting for the end of this month?
Sure.
So that will be Chris, Kay, and Connie.
Me and one other person.
I'm happy to do it.
Do you want, we can
Oh.
do 2 people too.
2 or 3?
We can do 2 or 3, it's up to you.
I can do it. You just did the
Yeah.
pitch thing.
1, 2, 3. Okay, got it.
Just 2? 3, okay.
Town awarded repairs, foundation repair, Murray.
We met with Chris and I and Nate and Mr. Brandon Murray met, 2 Fridays ago?
Yeah.
And he's, I think, very competent. We were trying to scale back the project to just the critical nature, just the front of the building, the corner, and I think we did that. I even tried to exclude the interior, and he was very helpful. He gave me some hints on how to approach that. It's on, I won't even go into it, but I will do that.
Can I just see this card? Make sure we get it right. Thank you.
And he's competent, seemed enthusiastic. He's the president of the company, so I think we're getting a good attention. And it was a good little meeting. And my compliments to Nate, because he's right. We have to focus this down to just the critical nature of things.
Thank you.
And Chris was also very helpful, so it went well,
And I
I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And if I remember emails correctly, I believe the request for proposals, RFPs, are due October 10th. I think I saw that come
So
out.
he's gonna put in a bid, or he's already?
Yeah, to put in a bid.
Okay.
That was my understanding. I think that's what I saw for, an email that came out, like 2 weeks ago or so.
I don't have that date, but it's the
Yeah.
phase one of the foundation repair.
Yes, it's October 10th. So request for quotations for the Hubbardston Library Foundation Repair Project Phase 1 has been extended. The new deadline for submitting quotes is now October 10th, 2024. So hopefully they will put together a proposal.
That's next Thursday.
Yes, so same day as CIPC. So hopefully that will come in at
See
a.
the back?
Yeah, I said he was from Salem,
Well, none of that, but he's
license.
specializing in historic buildings.
Oh, okay.
Good.
So we assume he's gonna put in a bid?
Oh, you don't know until he either does or doesn't.
Yeah.
He's certainly qualified.
Okay.
So yeah, so we will hope that that comes in at a price, you know, that works for us. But I think since you guys have scaled it down, it feels like it would hopefully come in.
We'll see.
Yep.
We keep getting surprised.
Yes, so, all right. Any other items?
Any update on the heat pumps?
Nope. Hasn't said. We're supposed to, Nate and I were supposed to meet with Tom from, I think, ECI, and, I sent a message to him saying, hey, when are we getting together? I haven't heard anything, and I'm pretty sure that, Nate has also done the same thing, so we're waiting for them, cause they're the ones that wanted to get started, so.
Does the library building have a little shop back? Or-
I think that there might be one in the storage room downstairs in the annex.
Next to the safe?
Yeah. But, does it work or not? I'm not sure.
I'll figure it out.
Do you need
If
one?
it's there, well, yeah, but if it's there, I'll fix it up. Get a
Alright,
new
cause
filter
if
in.
it doesn't, we can always I can always pick one up at Walmart, that's no biggie.
Alright.
I have one if you need to borrow it.
I have one too, I just didn't want to have to drag it over.
Yeah, I have one too, but again,
Yeah.
don't wanna drag it, cause this is,
Yeah.
it's big.
All right, any other items not reasonably anticipated by me?
May I just share an announcement?
Mhm.
I don't know if it was intended for like library directors, but there's a Rural Library Network E-Summit taking place December 4th.
World Library E-Summit?
Rural
Okay.
Rural Library Network E-Summit. And I sent an email, I believe, to
You did,
the
you
public
sent it to me, yep.
But it just came out to me, and it was through another like MRC or other. And just, it's to learn more about using, cradle to career strategies to address educational health disparities, as well as having a chance to access resources needed to do work and initiatives, as well as several networking opportunities. So it's basically a learning opportunity. Didn't know if it would be of interest, but where it came across and it was library related, I just wanted to share with the trustees.
Can you email it to us?
I can.
Thank you.
You're gonna say something?
Nope.
Okay.
All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, yeah. All right, it's what, 8:25, and our meeting is adjourned.
Wait, who seconded?
Everybody?
Everybody.
Everyone seconded it, so.
Wait, I'm not